Good day. Today we're going to solve quadratics by factoring. So we're used to factoring, okay? So now today we have a little different. We still have our ax squared plus bx plus c, but now we have an equals 0, where before we're used to just ax squared plus bx plus c. Well, again, we're going to be adding a 0 because we're actually going to be solving for x on these. Alright, so it's going to start off the same where we're going to factor this. So first of all, there's no GCF, so there's no number that'll go into 3, 13, and negative 10. So we're going to go ahead and do our 2 parentheses. We're going to split up our 3x. Okay, we're going to make our table. We're still going to do your a times c, which in this case is negative 30, and our b is 13. Okay. So again, some of you guys might see this, but we do negative 1 and 30 gives us 31. Negative 2 and 15 gives us 13. So here's our answer. Okay, we still have our brackets. Which one of these two will 3 go into? And it's 15. So I'm going to put the 15 here and the negative 2. Okay, we know that negative 2 goes here. And now 3 times what will equal 15? Or you can look at it, 3 will go into 15 5 times. Okay, so that we've been doing. But now we have to solve. So what we're going to do now is we have to separate our 2 parentheses and set them each equal to 0. So I'm going to have 3x minus 2, and I'm going to set that equal to 0. And then I'm going to have my x plus 5 and set that equal to 0. And now we just have 2 equations that we have to solve. Okay, so I'm going to do this one first. So I'm going to add 2. So I have 3x equals 2, and then I'm going to divide by 3, and I get x equals 2 over 3. Okay, so that's one of my solutions. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the x plus 5. So I'm going to subtract 5, and x equals negative 5. And there's my second solution. So those are going to be my 2 answers. Okay, and what that means is if we were to plug these, okay, this negative 5 into our equation, we would get true statements. And I'll show you on the next one. Okay, let's go ahead and do another one. All right, so this one, again, always make sure, I didn't say it, but make sure it equals 0. So if something's over here that's not a 0, we need to move it to the left side. In this case, it equals 0, so we're good. Okay, there's no GCF, so I'm going to go ahead and factor. Okay, and we want factors of 4 that add up to 5, and remember that's a times c and that's b. So I have 1 and 4. When I add them, I get 5. Alright, so now again, that's the factoring. So now we want to split. So I have x plus 1 equals 0, and then x plus 4 equals 0. Okay, and we're going to solve both of them separately. So the first one, I'm going to subtract 1, x equals negative 1. This one I'm going to subtract 4, and we get x equals negative 4. Okay, so again, what the 2 solutions mean, I'll show you. We don't have to do this every time, but what it means is if I take x equals negative 1 and plug it back into my problem, I will get a true statement. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say negative 1 squared. Again, that came from here. So plus 5x. So that's going to be plus 5 times negative 1 plus 4, and that should equal 0. So negative 1 squared is 1. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. And then I'm going to bring down my plus 4. All right, and then 1 minus 5 is negative 4, plus 4 is 0. So I have 0 equals 0, and that's a true statement. Okay, the same thing works with the negative 4. I should be able to plug negative 4 in. So we have negative 4 squared plus 5 times negative 4 plus 4, and that should equal 0. So let's start at negative 4 squared is 16. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20 plus 4. Okay, I'm just going to bring that down. So that's negative 4 plus 4, and 0 equals 0. Okay, so both of them gave me a true statement. So that will always happen. Okay, so here's the next one. If you notice, this one is not in order. I have a 7x over here, and this needs to be a 0. So I need to take this and move it over. And now remember, when you do that, you need to put it in order. Okay, and this term is the b term, so I'm going to put it in between. So I have 2x squared. Now remember, when you cross the equal sign, it changes sign. So that's a negative 7x minus 30 equals 0. Now my quadratic is solved for 0, so now I can factor. All right, so a times c is negative 60, and I want to add up to negative 7. All right, now that's the opposite. Okay, so here's my 2. All right, which one will 2 go into? That'll go into negative 12. So the 5 goes there. And then 2 times what equals negative 12? So that's a negative 6. All right, now we're going to split them up. So 2x plus 5 equals 0. And then x minus 6 equals 0. So subtract 5. Negative 5, divide by 2, I'm running out of room, x equals negative 5 over 2. Leave these in fractions, it doesn't matter, so there's no reason to change them to decimals. And then on this one I have to add 6, so I get x equals 6. So those are my 2 solutions. All right, one more. All right, again, this one's not in order, so I need to move my 3x and my negative 2 over. So I have x squared. Now when we cross the equal sign, it becomes a negative 3x, and my negative 2 becomes a plus 2. Okay, so a times c is 2, and negative 3. Okay, so now here I want to multiply to be positive, add to be negative. So negative 1 and negative 2 is negative 3. So there are my problems. Okay, and now the coefficients are 1 here, so remember you just can put those in any order. So now let's split them up. X minus 1 equals 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. Add 1, x equals 1. Add 2, and x equals 2. Okay, and those are my 2 solutions. Have a great day.